You're listening to the Conscious Briefing Show podcast on Anchor FM.
Alrighty. Welcome back to another edition of the Conscious Briefing podcast. I'm your host, Jason Bett, and welcome to my podcast. It is now Monday, the 7th of October, 7 o'clock now. I'm a bit late. Normally, I like to post my podcasts on 11 o'clock, but you know, with life and you've got issues and you've got problems and you have to address them first. So the podcast had to come second, unfortunately. But anyway, I'm here now and I'm going to do the podcast tonight with my guest, the Dodgy Idealist. Who is the Dodgy Idealist? Well, I think he will explain himself, but I know him from my social media groups. Ironically, the title of this podcast is Social Media is Not Helping. But from what I know of the Dodgy Idealist, he likes to write articles. He has his own website. I will plug in the link to his podcast. Not to his podcast, to his website. Go on to it and read. I mean, the guy's got some interesting articles, and I've read a few in it, and it's quite interesting what he speaks about there in his articles. And yeah, coming to the podcast, the social media, we have seen some funny things this last month or so, and it starts with the Springboks, and even it's a bit with this racist thing that's going on with him against his name now. And then this weekend we saw Pimpy explaining to his fans and that what they saw. There was this little video that went viral, and everybody was labeling the Springboks racist, and that I don't get it. I don't get it. What's going on? What is going on with these trolls at the moment? These trolls are just making accusations and assumptions left, right, center, and yet we, the public, we read it and we fall for it. So I don't know. So let's go into it. Let's speak with my guest and find out exactly why social media has such an impact on our day-to-day living. Okay, come back in a while. Kasiho, my man, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Lekker, my man. Welcome to the Conscious Briefing podcast, man.
Thank you very much for having me on.
Honored to have you here, man.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm late. I explained to you yesterday because normally by Mondays 11 o'clock I like to post my podcast. So I'm extremely late with this podcast now.
No, that's 100%. It's understandable.
Yeah, because when you do podcast net, you need to stick to a time. So Mondays.
Well, you're talking about a person that can't even bring out a blog post on time. So no stress from my side.
That's right. You do blogs here. Not blogs,
yes,
blogs. Blogs. You got your own website. Yes. But okay, you know what? Introduce yourself quickly to my listeners.
All right. Guys know me as Kagiso Masinga, and I write on the blog The Dodgy Idealist. I write on various topics such as politics, economics, ideologies, religion, and philosophy. My current series on symbolism is kind of where I'm focusing right now, where I look at different aspects on pop culture and music and movies, and even on poster art from the socialist era. And I try to get down to the deeper meaning of that. But I'm sure you'll link to all the sites as we go on.
I read your last blog. Your last blog was about the Marvel movie Captain
Marvel, I think.
Captain Marvel, and it was quite interesting. I enjoyed it. It was quite good.
Well, thank you very much.
A different approach in that, but yeah, people need to see these different approaches on how life is,
Yes, definitely.
And philosophy is it? I mean, there's a lot of us out there that don't even understand the concept of philosophy. I had a podcast with Wesley Bryan a few months back on philosophy, and that was quite an interesting podcast.
I can imagine. I haven't listened to that one yet. I listened to your last one with Dumo.
With Duma, yeah.
Yes, and that was very interesting for me as well.
Yeah, it was cool. I don't think we went in too deep, but I think that the listeners out there got an idea of how the world should be seen with world population, you know. But
Yes,
it was interesting.
definitely.
I enjoyed it, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it.
Right.
Firstly, why has social media changed our lives? There's some, I got
Do
a
you want to
site
go?
there. Yeah, no, I got a site there. And social media can be used to educate young people. Social media can be used as a voice of reason in society. Social media has enabled more young people to be creative and innovative.
Yes.
What's your thought on that?
Well, I'm not going to dispute any of those. I think those are very spot on. One thing that I have noticed about myself, for example, now entering into this whole social media sphere, is my complete lack of ability to navigate uh, the social media waters, so to speak. So to
Yeah.
see the youngsters being able to do that really, astounds me. It's like, how did you think of this? And I didn't know you can do this. So yes, it does prepare them for a new skill set
Yeah.
out there. So it increases their visibility 100%.
Yeah.
And they practice and showcase their abilities while doing that. They also have this new ability to share their experiences. I mean, growing up, uh, you told your story to your friends. Oh, I did this weekend, or yeah, my dad did this, or my uncle did this, or whatever the case may be. So you shared your experiences in a very small group. Where now with social media, that's exploded to be global.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the self-education is probably the most important one, but it can also be very detrimental, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, Mark Zuckerberg, who started Facebook, amazing. I think it was a site called Face Smash. Do you
Yeah,
remember?
or something
Face
obscure
Smash?
like that.
And then these twins approached him, and if you watch the movie called The Social Network, I think it is.
I actually watched that movie, the one that you're talking about.
The Social
Yes, not 100% sure about the name, but it's a brilliant movie.
It was a brilliant movie. They accused him of stealing their ideas, and they took him to court, but he paid it with a smile. But the idea of that social media, that Facebook that he's created, was to, we can find loved ones, school friends, family members, lost family members. And I remember in 2007 when I joined, it was awesome. It was awesome finding your old friends on Facebook.
Well, yes, and for me it was also very overwhelming. It's like, all of these things are now there. It's like, oh, where do I even begin? How do I even start with this? So I faded from Facebook, and like I said, I only reemerged now, since the beginning of this year. So yeah, it's quite overwhelming at some points.
Well, look, that's just the first question. I mean, that's just a little bit of the positiveness that I wanted to speak about social media. The next one is the downside of social media, and that there's a whole range. There's cyberbullying. There's politicians that scapegoat, scammers and fraudsters, fake news. Interesting. I got a little verse here. Founder Microsoft Bill Gates, one of the world's richest men, said he did not let his children have cell phones until they turned 14.
I think he has a valid point there.
I think so too, because I also let my son have his cell phone at, okay, I'm wrong, I think 13 he had his cell phone.
But that's more or less when he was sort of out of the whole peer pressure thing.
Yeah.
Sort of. Not entirely, but sort of. Look, there's a lot of things in this topic that we can, lump together. For example, cyberbullying, health issues, and mental health issues. We can probably lump together because these three things overlap. One can be the cause of the other, and can lead to another, and so on and so forth. I listened to a talk from Simon Sinek, and he identified 4 areas in regards to some of the more negativity that millennials receive because they're on social media.
Yeah.
He identified it as parenting, technology, impatience, and environment.
Yeah.
And I think it's very interesting. On parenting, he said, for example, that millennials and probably the generations after them
Yes.
are victims of bad parenting techniques,
Yeah.
where the children are constantly told that they're special and that they can have anything in life, um, and that it's most probably that millennials got into classes not because they earned it, but because the parents, complained about it, and they got or they get participation medals, and we all know that uh, something like that devalues the prize of first, second, and third place. For the people that actually worked hard for those achievements, and it's really amazing how we tend to just look at social media, but we also don't look at ourselves and how we contribute to
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I mean, there's lack of sleep and the emotion that we're talking about, lack of human connection. As a child, I grew up playing in the parks, building these little cars from wire, draadkarretjies.
Yes.
That has been stripped away from children today, because social media is just there and Xbox is there and PlayStation. And like you said, Millennium.
Yeah, and it's this world of instant gratification. They don't have to wait like previous generations. Like if you wanted to build a draadkarretjie, for
Yeah.
example, you physically had to build it yourself.
Yeah, true.
Your dad would have showed you more or less how to begin, and then you had to figure it out on the end.
Yeah.
So that taught you patience, and it built a deep and meaningful relationship between you and whoever helped you build the draadkarretjie, whether it was your friends or whether it was your dad.
Exactly. I'm with you 100%.
And yes, and social media does not do that, especially in the world of, let's call it, filters, right?
Yeah.
Because let's face it, not everyone on Facebook has this ideal life, right? They put a filter on it because they're insecure. They don't want to show you the vulnerability of who they are.
Yeah.
Because we as a society see vulnerability as a sort of weakness, I think. And that's really heartbreaking to me.
Yeah, no, it is. And what's even more heartbreaking, the fake news that we keep getting. I mean, there's social media sites, news websites that I don't even trust anymore. I thought I could trust News 24 with their news. It just doesn't seem that reliable anymore.
No, I started figuring out I can't rely on them as early as 2009.
Roughly about there.
I was like, no, this just looks a bit too socialistic for me.
Yeah.
So I'm not 100% on board on.
Yeah, exactly. And then the mental health issues. I know there was a thing on Seven the Line. Okay. I don't always watch Seven the Line, but there's this chick on Seven the Line. She got heavy involved in Twitter and posting her photos. And if she didn't post her photos and that, then she would be like half sick, That's the scary part.
Yes,
that's what we're going to.
Yeah. So that's an interesting thing as well. I did a bit of research as well. Basically, as far as I can understand it, I'm not a biologist, so correct me if I'm wrong. But from what I can understand from the explanations people gave, was that every time someone gives you a like or a thumbs up or a comment, the sort of triggers a dopamine effect.
Yes.
And that's the same thing that we can associate with smoking and drinking. And smoking, we all know, is not healthy for your life.
I know. I'm a smoker too, and I like to have a beer. And then when I do my podcast, I've already had 2 cigarettes already, so I'm just as guilty. I'm guilty there.
Yeah. So it makes you relax, and the reason why people do that is because social life is extremely tough. it's extremely tough. So you use all of these things, gambling, drinking, smoking, etc.,
Yeah.
to basically blunt the sharp edge of life, because otherwise you're going to cut yourself.
Yeah.
Everybody has a coping mechanism,
Yeah.
and it's how you use the coping mechanism that either makes you an addict or not.
Yeah. True. Eh? I mean, that's why I'm doing this podcast, and the name of my podcast, conscious debriefing. I'm hoping that the listeners out there would listen and take this to heart and say, you know what, he's right. We've got teenagers, and we just let them have their way with their cell phones and that, and they go onto any site that they can, and they get influenced with the wrong information, especially with this left wing and right wing politics at the moment. Political correctness seems to be the order, but what political correctness are we trying to tell the public out there?
Yeah, and one thing that I've noticed as well is with the increase in cyberbullying, for example, there's also an increase in suicide rates.
Oh yeah,
and especially
definitely.
among young men or teenage boys. And the reason for that is men are wired to be competitive.
Yes.
And in high school, you still sort of want to figure out the rules because you haven't figured out the rules of engagement yet. Let's call it that. So you haven't learned that, not stepping down on someone isn't appealing.
Yeah.
You think it makes you look macho and tough and so on and so forth. So you keep on doing that. Now, when you give a child a phone and you say, here it is, and it's got limitless access to the internet and social media, that bully doesn't just stop at the schoolyard.
Yes.
He follows that child home into the bedroom, where it continues.
Of course.
And that leads to greater mental health issues, depression, for example. I mean, you repeat a message to a teenager long enough, eventually they're going to believe it. Like,
the scary part is parents are not really aware of this. They're not aware of what's going on behind their closed door.
Yeah, and I mean, look, kids don't tell parents. That's just a general rule. We didn't even tell our parents everything. There's still some secrets that my parents don't even know about me.
Yeah.
And I'd like to keep it that way, There are things that children keep from their parents, and it's our sort of responsibility to know that if we expose our children to this, these are the issues that we have. It's unfortunate that society had to pay such a steep price to learn this lesson. But it's a valuable lesson nonetheless.
It is.
We have to limit the amount of access, not only of information that our children have, but also the amount of exposure our children have to other people.
I mean, I know in school I was bullied. I mean, okay, but that was before cell phones all came out. I mean, and I had to face this bully. My dad always told me, just stand up to this bully. And I did. Yeah. This guy just kept on bullying me, and one day I thought enough is enough, and I gave him a whack. And that was that. I never saw that bully again in my life. But now it's just changed.
And that's necessary. I mean, it sounds barbaric, but it is. Boys need to be that confrontational and to learn how to stand up for themselves. Otherwise, I don't want to say that. Well, let's say that. Otherwise, what sort of a man, is he going to grow up as?
Exactly. Remember that Gillette advert that came out recently? When was it? February this year.
Yes, I remember. I couldn't watch it. I got on board a bit too late.
But do you remember the impact it had on everybody, eh? A huge impact.
It did.
It was like Gillette was trying to say, the bullies must be set one side, come on, become a man type of thing. That's the message I got of it. But there was people out there that just changed it and added their own words to it and turned the Gillette advert into a bad thing. Eh?
Well, and in one sense, for me, it wouldn't have helped to put the bullies on one side. The sad reality is that life is full of adversity. And, life doesn't divide the bullies from the non-bullies, so to speak. So you have to have them in society in order to strengthen the resolve of the men out there and to teach men how to be men, to defend not only themselves but their family and their ideal. They have to be men to be able to, progress society forward in a sense, because whether we like it or not, that's kind of the role of a man within society. That's why we take the dangerous jobs. That's why we take the long working hours and so on and so forth. It's not just about, procuring a good mate to have a child with. No, it's about more than that. It's about progressing the society to the pinnacle.
Yeah, of course, hundreds. I'm with you there.
Yeah, it's this idea of the mountain, and this is where social media starts to break down, I think, social cohesion, right? because of things like political correctness, hate speech, and cyberbullying, for example, that go very close in hand to hand with one another. Because you can't retaliate in the same manner that you would normally have done, when you and I grew up. Someone said something mean to you, you just turned and probably snocked something back, and then, you'd meet one another at the Fietsluis, and sort it out there.
Yeah.
So now you can't do that. So the equivalent of that is someone says something nasty. You can't solve the problem yourself like you did. So you have to run to the principal, and then the principal will try and sort out the issue, but he only expounds the issue because now the bully, doubles down on his stance.
But the
And
children,
that's basically what
the children
political
in
correctness
schools,
does.
the children in schools today, I really feel sorry for them. They have a tough time, and the teachers too. I mean, I've had podcasts on teachers. How I really feel sorry for the teachers. I take my hats off to them because they are the ones that are trying to bring up the youth and educate the youth in becoming our next future lawyers, doctors. But social media is not helping. It's not helping. Our youth are going backwards.
Yeah, and again, it's about this insecurity and the failing parenting techniques that we have. I remember, for example, when people cheered on when the old flag, which they inappropriately adopted as or dubbed as the apartheid flag.
Yes.
Said, it's a good thing that it's not only banned from gratuitous display in public, but also in the privacy of your own home. And I remember saying to one person, just remember, the judicial system now reached into you, and that's a hand that you can't get out easily. That's like inviting the vampire into your own home, right? You can't allow the vampire in, or the vampire can't get into your home if you don't invite him.
Yeah, true.
And the people, when they cheered for this ruling, they invited that vampire into their home. They invited that monster. Then the ruling came for the punishment of children. You may not hit your child because now it's a and then they cried about it, and I said, no. Do you remember when I said this is going to be a problem, and you said, I don't know what I'm talking about? Then they started to realize the implications of this, and social media really played a big role in that as well, with the misinformation about it.
Carry on.
How the people construed the defenders of the freedom of speech, for example, as bigoted racists.
People are getting banned
to defend. Yeah.
Your Facebook, you go to Facebook jail for 30 days.
Yeah, it's like, no, sorry, you're not allowed to have this wrong opinion because we don't like it. And that's basically what social media has devolved into.
That's just the left acting out because we're right-wingers and we're trying to practice our freedom of speech, but just that wrong word. And then the algorithm picks you up and says, sorry, this is not according to our Facebook standards. We're going to ban you now for 30 days.
Yes, and that's ridiculous. To me, it's like, no. It's like Christoph being banned from Facebook.
Christoph, hats off to you, my bro. Hats off to you, Christoph. If you listen, hats off, bro. You went through hell, eh? But he came back with a bang, eh?
I was waiting for it. He said to us, to me and Moo the other day, he's going to use this to his advantage, and I'm like, oh dear.
Shit that he did.
I don't want to. I'm not even opening Facebook at this moment because I know.
He went full boast, full speed. Look, still, while we're on this negative subject, even it's a bit. To most people, to most youth, he's like a hero to them, And now this story happened in Langebaan. Okay, we don't know the full story. We just saw the YouTube video. But you can't really see much in this YouTube video. But I have a theory on this. Now, hear me out. This is just my theory, my opinion, 12 o'clock the night, you go to a pub. You have a couple of drinks in UK, And then somebody comes to you, you're famous. You're a famous person. Hey, Iben, how you, Choma? And then you hit him, you tap him a bit. So I'm not saying he did it. I'm not saying, but maybe he got a bit stamperig and he said, hey, dude, leave me alone, man. Stop picking on me. And then boom, that gets turned into this racist issue now. And now he must now come back to South Africa. The Human Rights Commissioner is looking for him. Oh, come on, man. What must the people now think of it? You see now social media get dragged into this now, and they've now made him into this bad person, which he's not. He's not.
Yes. For me, for example, to me, I don't see that as a racist issue.
Not at all, bro.
I just see it as an altercation between two grown men. Something happened. There was a disagreement of some sort, like you said.
Yes.
And, it might have gotten out of hand. Or it might not have been at all like that. And social media is painting him in a light that he is not. What's even more fascinating about this, and more frustrating for me, is that the supposed Human Rights Commission, their lawyer, what's his name? See, he's not even that important for me. That's how much I think about these sort of commissions. Is he clearly said that he thinks Eben is guilty. There's no more about this idea of the presumption of innocence. In such a case, to me, both are innocent until a guilty party sort of emerges, based on the evidence and the eyewitness testimony.
Yeah.
But clearly, the South African Human Rights Commission does have an agenda behind this, and it is, I would say, an anti-white narrative that's being chased.
Yes.
And I don't like it at all.
It has been for a long time.
Yes. You look at, for example, their case where they said, oh no, Julius Malema is excused of hate speech because you have to take into consideration the history of the individual, as well as the race of the individual, and those who receive and speak the hate speech as well. So clearly, they've already said, look, we're not a Human Rights Commission. We are a double-speak commission.
More like double standards.
Yes.
Practicing double
they
standards.
They might call themselves the Human Rights Commission, but they're not. I'm very sorry. They should disband. The same with the Nelson Mandela Foundation. They should just disband, give the money back to the public, and fade into non-existence.
Yeah, but in the long run, I just think this is now an opportunity for the Langebaan community to suck some money. Get some money out of it. Again, my opinion. Listeners out there, it's just my opinion. But yeah, there's money to be paid out yet.
Yes, definitely. In any case, in anything like this, there is money to be made.
And then after that, it seems like these trolls have to now dig a little bit further. There's a footage that they saw after this rugby game on Saturday. Oh, was it Friday? Sorry, Friday with Italy, where a group of white guys, Springbok players, hugged each other, and Mpimpy didn't join. But he then, I take my hat off to him, respect to him, because what he did all afterwards was awesome. Explaining to his fans, guys, come on, it wasn't a racist issue. It's a little thing we've got when guys sit on the bench and then they win and they stand up and they hug. But now, this is the thing, body language in social media is very important, because what did people see in that videos? And then all you have to do is just type a few words to it, look at this guy's behavior, boom, and it gets labeled racist.
Yes, most definitely. See, the other thing as well is, and this is something that social media, well, here's one thing. When I looked at the video, I didn't see anything racist in that at all. Again, maybe it's just me. But not even the body language was like, oh, I don't really want to stand next to these guys or anything like that, even though he didn't want to put his arms around these guys. Nothing of that sort was, given off to him. And this is what social media sort of took away from, the reasoning capacity of people, is the ability to read and understand one's body language. that awkwardness, that when you build up a relationship, or when you're in a conversation, that real awkwardness, like you want to go or you go to the pub and you see this beautiful blonde
Yes.
standing there, how it is, and you want to approach them.
Yes.
In social media, it's swipe left, swipe right. Hey, you're a stud. So in real life conversation, it's like more like, hey,
Yeah.
I lost my number. May I have yours? Sort of pick up lines come through and all that sort of
The
thing.
scary part is because we've got cell phones that can record. Now, when you
Yes.
get into an argument with somebody from behind you will take out a cell phone and start recording.
Yes.
And you
Sort of like
you become the
Pumzilla
victim.
van Dam did.
That's
Exactly that.
right, yeah. I mean, I work in the security industry, okay, and when my guards have to clamp a wheel or something, I always try and tell them to remain calm, because obviously the customer is going to get angry and he's going to start throwing his toys out. And I always say, stay calm, because you never know who's behind you recording. Now, if you're going to raise your voice and you're going to raise your finger, point your finger at the car and that, I've clamped your car and that, that's when you're in trouble.
Yes.
You're in trouble.
Oh, yeah.
You've been recorded.
And
it goes onto social media. Boom.
Yeah.
Yes, and cut.
And the next day you're out of a job.
You fired. You fired, bro. Fuck, it's scary. Yeah. I can't do anything anymore. I got to walk around and I got to keep myself calm the whole time.
Yes. And, like, people don't understand this from me as well. Why do I use like the pseudonym? Well, the issue is I work very closely with Sanral. I work very closely with Teti Traffic. I work very closely with EFCON South Africa, CUPS, and so on. So these are all my clients.
Yes.
And I have 4 other people that are dependent on my income. So I can't risk putting my real name out there, knowing that there's something like the cancel culture, ready to pounce on me whenever I do something wrong. And it's basically the cancel culture that we are seeing now has tried to morph its way into our sports.
Yeah.
For me, I think it's probably a few race-mongering individuals within our society, whether it's in government or whether it's not, trying to force the transformation issue within our sport industry. And I think, unfortunately, Eben and Jesse and all these others are being targeted.
Cool, they've been targeted big time, Drew. And these trolls, these social media warriors, yes, as they are getting a kick out of it, eh?
Yes, definitely. And they like riling up the right wing, so to say.
Yeah.
Because they know that, it's probably the right wingers are probably the majority rugby fans, when actually it's not. It's like the centrists like myself, and it's like some left wingers like, let's say Ronaldo, even though he is also sort of centrist. Or
he's moving. He's moving more to right, eh?
Yes, daily, and I'm enjoying that.
He's moving more right. He doesn't want to accept it, but he is. He's moving more right.
Especially with the whole freedom of expression sort of thing. Have you seen how he's morphed from, yes, they should be jailed, to, no, they should only now be fined? I can't wait for the day when he says, no, people should not be persecuted for anything that they say. I can't wait for that day.
Well, this is all the negative stuff that we're talking about and why social media is not helping. This Facebook group that came out now a month ago, I am staying. Wow. In 1 month, okay, well, I put the heading there, 400,000, well, it's actually 400,000 members. But I think they're on 500,000 members now, eh? Awesome. I know there's people saying, nah, they're a bit of a show off and maybe it's a bit of a suck up. But there's a message here. There's a message here that this group is trying to do. This Gerard Petze, ironically. Is he not cousin related to Willem Petze maybe? Definitely not.
I have no idea.
I'm just speculating here. But I'm busy browsing here through their Facebook site, the link that I shared here, and every comment you look is just positive. I love it. What's your thoughts on it?
if I'm going to be very honest, I went through the Facebook site, went through the PDF file they've uploaded. I think it's good, but me being who I am, I always see something I'm supposed to see.
Go for it, Boet. Give us your thoughts.
So here's the thing. With all the negativity and stuff like that on social media, people are looking for something positive. And I think this group actually addresses that.
Yes.
But there's a deeper underlying issue for me. People that follow me on Twitter know that on weekends I do not engage in any social media. I switch off all social media, whether that's an email, or whether it's Twitter, or whether it's Facebook or YouTube or anything like that. I do not engage in that. The negativity will overwhelm. And these people that are latching onto the site have good intentions, but there are some that will try and fill a void. And that void is those meaningful relationships that you build with people. You know? These are people that I think are looking for people to not only share the positiveness, but in order for them to sort of cope with their daily lives. Which is understandable. But again, when I talk to people, I was like for a week I wasn't at work. And normally I'll walk to you on a Friday, for example. Sit down, I'll make time for you. I'll sit down and I'll go, "So Jason, how's your son doing? Is he, and how about your wife?" And I'll ask you these personal questions and so on and so forth. And I'll ask you, "So how are you doing with this report? If you need help, just pick up my number, call me, I'll help you." Things like that.
You don't think people, some people get offended with it?
No, and those that do, well, they quickly learn that I'm not there to offend them. That's not my aim. My aim is to help them and to build that trust, because I want to work with a team that can trust me and I can trust them. And like I said, if I'm not there for like people, message like mad, like, "Where are you, bro? We miss you."
I agree 100% with you. Yeah. This is the type of mindset that we had back in the 80s and the early 90s, even before social media came up. We had this thing where, like you just explained now, "Can I help you? What can I help you with?"
Yes.
But and that's why I asked that question. Don't you think people get offended in it? Because they do. They get offended and say, "I can do this." Yeah.
Like I said, some do, but they quickly learn that I'm not there to sort of steal their glory or anything. No. For me, that's not important. For me, what's important is to help them cope with all the pressures that there are. Because with the work that we do, we have strict deadlines and so on. And so that can be very overwhelming. And I don't want people to be overwhelmed or feel overwhelmed. They quickly learn to not take offense to me.
Look, the idea of the group too, I'm staying, is like almost like back in the 80s again. We knew our neighbors.
Yes.
We knew who our neighbors were. You would wake up, "Hallo Bierman, hoe gaan het met jou? Rugby was lekker." That is not happening anymore.
For example, well, I know all my neighbors. I know my neighbor here, Jan. I know the one behind me is Benny, and I know the other one here is Rishad. So, and we talk.
Cool.
They know
You know your neighbors. I don't know my neighbors.
I made a point of knowing, because I believe safety in numbers, so it's harder for a thief to break into a neighborhood that actually watches for one another.
That's the thing, bro. I mean, if you got neighbors that and when they know you're going out, they will keep an eye. Likewise with you, you will keep an eye too, and like phone your neighbor and say, "Listen, there's someone in your yard now. Who's this guy?" "No, fuck, go there and chase him out the yard." 100%.
Yeah.
And this is what we're missing out on. We're missing out on that society. We just don't have anymore. We don't want to know our neighbors.
Yes. So it's and this is not entirely to blame only on social media, but also, on ourselves, because we've allowed social media to sneak up in this manner and to take that vital role, take the awkwardness out of social cohesion, and take out that ability to build meaningful relationships.
Yeah.
And we're taking broken individuals and we're thrusting them into the real world where they realize, oh crap, I'm not that special. There's always someone better than me at some. Um, there's this idea that I actually have to work for what I want. I can't just have it because I want it.
Yes.
And my mother can't get me that increase or that position. I have to actually do something. And there is no participation certificate or medal for coming in last. I have to pull up my socks. And that really, honestly, I can tell you one thing with the youngsters that I'm seeing coming into the office. I'm saying youngsters, I'm 32 years old. But when I see these green ones, let's call them that, coming in, they're overwhelmed. They really are overwhelmed with realities that hit them in the face. We had one guy, for example, he was like, I'm going to be a manager. And I'm like, you were only here for 2 months now. You're not going to be a manager.
True.
You're probably going to remain a technician for quite some time.
You have to work for it, bro. If you want that management position, you got to work for it. You got to own it.
Yes, and it's just the same thing with any other relationship and any positivity that you want out of life. You have to work for it. You have to look for it. And my suggestion to people that are suffering from social media addiction and depression and so on is take a break from social media.
Yeah.
Just take a break.
Focus.
To take that break.
Yeah, focus on what you want to do. Focus on your goals. And this is where we lack that. The youth of today are lacking that. They just they are seeing what our politicians are doing. They are seeing that the politicians are getting quick and rich. Tenders are going left, right, center. And the mindset is, I want that too. I also want to drive that BMW. I also want a big house. But I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to get there.
Yeah, it's like, when I grew up, I told my mom, I'm going to have a house and I'm going to have a car. And my mom was like, yeah, you do know that you have to work for these things, right? And I'm like,
absolutely.
Why? It's like, when I grow up, communism will give everything to me. And then I had a wake at I think 16 and I was like, communism sucks. So,
you're not the only one. There's lots of people I know that we engage with on Facebook that speak like that. They were once in their life a communist and they thought the idea was cool until they reached a certain age of maturity and they realized, shit, bro, the only way to do it is through individualism. Become an individual and working it for yourself.
Yeah. And it's what I find ironic as well is like people say that socialism and communism are two and the same thing, but it's really not. It's very subtle, but it's really not. But I let it slide because I understand what they mean. So
yeah, true.
Yeah. But I think the I'm Staying movement is a really good movement. I'm not going to bash on it. I think it's, if that is your thing, go for it. If that is what you need, go for it. But do not use it to find meaning in life. That is not where you're going to find meaning.
Yeah.
Where you are going to find meaning is in hard work. And that hard work you need to apply to your relationships. And I find meaning with my family and my friends.
Hundreds.
And even, the small stuff. For example, I went on a camping trip this weekend.
Yeah.
Which is why I was very happy when you said, listen, I've got this problem that I need to sort out first. And I was like, oh, thank goodness. So yeah, but still, I enjoyed it very much. We played games, we went swimming, we talked with one another, we heard one another's problems, gave one another solutions, and so on and so forth.
And there was no social social media.
None whatsoever. No one had a phone on them.
Awesome.
Yes. So I'm lucky to have a family where the phone is seen as a detriment. as
Yeah.
opposed to a benefit.
Yeah.
You only have the phone for in case. So,
Hundreds.
so that's about it from my side on the I'm Staying movement.
I think it's good. I'm positive about it. I like the positive. There's another group called, what's it? Am I Staying? Where there we engage a
Yeah.
bit more openly. Because in this
Okay.
I'm Staying group, there's a, yeah, it has to be approved, the post. So it's pending for approval. So the admin, obviously, of this group looks at your comment and tries to see if it's positive or negative. That's a plus point there.
Yeah,
But now coming to the next one, and this is your what you wanted me to talk about. Well, the big tech, the censorship,
yes,
the
yes.
echo chambers out
So
there.
we're talking about all these negative things as well, right?
Yeah.
But no one actually thinks about how big tech facilitates in this, right?
Yeah.
Everybody throws around terms like echo chamber and so on and so forth. So my question is, do you know what an echo chamber is?
Dude, no. No, you go ahead. You tell me.
All right. So I'm going to draw on our favorite person from the 20th century. His name is Adolf Hitler.
Yes.
So he basically had an echo chamber in Germany.
Yes.
So what happens is you throw out an idea. You wait and see how the public responds. If the public doesn't respond, you change the idea up a bit and you throw it back. And if you get a positive feedback from that, you reinforce that. And eventually, you're caught in this echo chamber where it's positive reinforcement coming back and forth to you. And that's basically what we see in Hitler and Stalin and Mao and so on and so forth.
Yeah, there was a lot of propaganda there. I mean, Stalin was good at that. He was the master of propaganda.
Exactly. And so people can say, yeah, but that's not the same. No, it's exactly the same. Because when you look at censorship, what you're doing is you're basically saying you're not allowed to speak this idea because it's bad.
Yes.
Right? Public won't respond good to it. The chamber won't give you a positive feedback if you do this. And so you think, oh, so how am I going to now make this positive? And then you try or get the positive reaction. And so you throw another idea out. And it's borderline, but it's there. And another effect that it has, when you censor someone that has a valid point, or not even a valid point, let's say you're censoring a racist.
Yes.
You're just giving them the motivation to continue on being that racist, to have those racist thoughts.
Oh, yeah, of course.
That's my opinion on that.
Where was it? Yeah, it's like with me. I get more views on BitChute and on my radio platforms, like on Anchor FM. And I said this with last week with Dumo. YouTube seems to be censoring a lot of stuff from us. That they know that we are right wing. Google South Africa is famous for this. That they are blocking us. We just want to tell the public out there that what's happening is wrong.
Yes, and it's very interesting as well. I talked to my sister-in-law, and she's like, "Yeah, but what do you care? I mean, on this topic, because it's free. Facebook is free, Twitter is free, YouTube is free.
YouTube is free, man."
And I said, "Yeah," but I said, "No, it's not, because it might seem free, but you are the product that is being sold to the people that put adverts on these, and these people that put adverts on the sites are clearly dictating to Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter what they want. And then also, you've got government trying to, get a cut into the pie as well.
Definitely.
So you've got, yes. So no, there is no such thing as free. I don't think there is anything new under the sun. I think it's just a metamorphosis of something that we've already seen in ancient days. And yeah, this is just typical propaganda and how to make money out of it.
Exactly. And YouTubers, the American YouTubers, they were making bucks, millions of bucks. Where us YouTubers,
to us.
Yeah, us YouTubers, me, and we're struggling. We're struggling YouTubers.
Yeah, we don't get the same cut of that pie, but that's maybe because that YouTube is, that engraved into the South African psyche as yet, or into the society as yet. But I think looking at social media platforms, I think Gab and BitChute Minds
Yeah, BitChute. Yeah.
will probably overtake YouTube in about 2
It's on its way. I mean, I like what I'm seeing. My views, I'm getting more views on BitChute.
Yes, and you've also got more
Tim Pool, he uses BitChute,
Yeah.
and even he is agreed. He likes BitChute more than YouTube because he's getting more views on BitChute. So he's getting his message out there more.
Yes, and that's something that you want as a content.
Exactly. So the last question is, how can we as society do something about this? How can we change this negative downside of social media? Now, we have touched base on it a bit, yeah, but there's more that we can do. And I think it starts with us, parents.
Yes, it starts with you as the individual. You need to put down hard rules for yourself. That's very important.
Yeah.
It's like for me, for example, I don't do social media on weekends, or at least I try not.
That's
but
awesome.
Sometimes it does.
That's an awesome rule. I wish I can stick to that.
Yeah, but I don't even have Twitter or Facebook on my phone. For that very reason.
I don't have Twitter. I'm more on Facebook. I just don't like the stuff that you read on Twitter.
Yeah, it's a cesspool sometimes.
Yeah, no, it's a cancer.
Yes, that's a perfect explanation.
It's a cancer.
But I've now learned that with me, I engage with more people now on Twitter than I do on Facebook. So my platform has moved from Facebook to Twitter.
Strange, eh?
Yes. So it's
strange.
Yes, because I don't know why, but when I publish my articles, it goes to both Facebook and Twitter. But Twitter links through more to it than Facebook does.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's one of those.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm doing something wrong. I'll figure it out though.
No, and I'm gonna plug in your link into my description.
Awesome.
I want the listeners out there to go into your blog and read the stuff there, because you got some interesting stuff there.
Yes,
the philosophy, the philosophy of how you explaining things. It's I think it's a good understanding. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. But yeah, I think people need to stick to a schedule on their social media. I understand that some people don't have a computer, so how they get onto social media is through their phones. But if you do have access to a computer, don't put the apps on your phone.
Yeah.
Get an alarm clock.
Yeah.
Don't use your phone as an alarm clock, because that's another rule I have. I charge my phone in the living room.
Yeah.
I don't charge it in my room at all. I want to sleep. I don't want to hear pings and.
Bro,
and
I'm a victim. I'm a victim there, because when that cell phone goes off, it's my alarm, and then the first thing I do is I go on Facebook. I'm guilty there. I'm guilty.
And I'm pointing these things out, and I'm like, guys, when I get up in the mornings, say hello to my significant other, yes. I wake them up, even though they're grumpy and they still want to sleep. They go into work for an hour later, and I'm like, no, it's the new day, it's the new morning, get up. The sun is about to shine, and I go and make them breakfast and all that. And
Bro, at the end of the day, I think it's all about FOMO, fear of missing out. This is why we then hooked onto Facebook and other social media platforms, because we're scared we're going to miss out something out when you go to work and then everyone's talking about something and you're not part of that clique because you didn't see that post.
I've learned, the thing is, that's why they're there, Yeah, okay, so like when you posted this thing of Ibn Ed, I was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
No, I'm not even going to go there now. I'm going to enjoy my weekend.
But that's awesome, because you made that choice on your own, just not to go there 100%. That's awesome.
Yes. And, when I engage in talks at work as well, I pick up bits and pieces as I go along. And because, you're an adult and you have this self-cognitive ability,
yes.
You can sort of, reason things out for yourself.
Yeah.
So it didn't take long for me to, for example, piece together the whole It's a Bet saga and the whole racist rugby team sort of debacle that went on. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. But the thing is that if you're so worried about missing out on social media, or missing out on the big things,
FOMO.
you will miss out on your life because you are putting aside time, very, very important time that you can use to aspire to your dreams, right? An hour now doesn't seem like much. But when you take an hour every day for 7 days a week for a month, that's 7 hours for 4 weeks.
True. We don't realize how much time we're actually giving up to social media. We don't realize it. We're not actually spending time with our children, the quality time like you just explained on weekends.
Yes.
Where are we going?
It's very important. And I rather, before I look on Facebook or Twitter or YouTube in the morning, I rather want to wake up and see my significant other, that's the first thing I want to see in the mornings.
Yeah.
It's like, they're there. They haven't been, kidnapped or the rapture didn't happen.
Yes.
Because I also don't believe in that. And it will be a shock if it does turn out to be real, but I'll write in something like that in the future. Keep an eye out on that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think it's up to us to make that choice in what to read. Obviously, when you hear about a kidnapping story, you want to get involved and you want to try and help where you can and spread the message. Because if a little girl like the situation we had here in Van der Belpark not so long ago, the Amy de Jager story.
Yes.
You want to know about it and you want to help and you want to spread the message. So that's the positiveness of it. And then afterwards, you get the negativeness out of it. And then we're back to square one.
Yes, it's all back to moderation,
Or
some is
in
good,
moderation.
too much is bad. Yes. So it's that. When it comes to children, try not to give them a phone that can access sites like Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube.
Yeah.
Right. I won't say don't give them a phone because I know that there are parents out there that are very paranoid and say, yeah, but what if something happens? So that's your choice. But be conscious about your choice. What you're exposing your children to.
And there is restrictions. I mean, there's YouTube Kids out there. That's a channel just for YouTube Kids.
Yes.
So the adult stuff is not on there. And you can, on your website, I mean, if you've got a computer net, you can restrict certain sites.
Yes, definitely. And I think that's very important.
But people don't know about this.
Parents need to be active in that.
Exactly. Parents don't know about it, yeah.
You can't be complacent and say, oh, well, they'll never discover it. No.
So I'm hoping the listeners out there that listening to this, and especially the parents out there, if you're listening to this, do research into it. There is ways that you can restrict certain sites from your children. It's up to you guys.
I also found sites. I think that you need to maybe link into the video description.
Brew, after this podcast, send it to my Discord channel, yeah, and I'll plug it into the description.
Yes, definitely. One actually deals with and its effect on your physical health.
Yes.
And the other one deals with media and the effects on your mental health.
Yes.
I think readers should definitely give that a read. I have a very interesting one. I think we should also discuss.
Go for it.
All right. So I'm not very, complacent with Gab News. I think it's very right leaning.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got its own biasness engraved into it. But I did find it interesting. That says artificial intelligence determines that minorities use hate speech at substantially rates than whites on Twitter.
Uh-huh.
Now, this is based on the US of A.
Mm-hmm.
So their minorities are probably people of color, Mexicans, and but what I can I can give you the link as well. Listeners can go and read that as well.
Of course.
What I want to say is what this article highlights, I think, isn't so much that it is a minority or minorities that use hate speech more often than whites do. I think the fact that those who perceived themselves as previously disadvantaged are
Mhm.
more likely to use hate speech and discrimination to
Yeah.
their.
Yeah. I'm with you there, 100%. Yeah.
So I'll give you those things after concluded the podcast.
Plug it in, Boot, and I'm going to plug it in my description 100%. Okay.
Yeah.
Brew, I think that was cool. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Don't go. I just want to give my
Thank you very much.
I just want to give my closing, and then I'm gonna end the recording. So, Kasigo, thank you very, very much. Like I said, I'm gonna plug in your links. It's been awesome. Thank you. I hope it's been it's been educational to the parents out there that's gonna listen to this. I really do.
Yes, it was very educational for me.
Hundreds.
Doing research on this, and it's really interesting.
Hundreds, my man. Okay, my podcast is available on YouTube, BitTube. This one is on Anchor FM, and from there it gets distributed to Spotify, Pocket Cast, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast. So please, guys, tune in. Please subscribe to my channel. I don't really ask that. So subscribe to my channel, because this is not the only podcast. There's more podcasts that I want to bring out that can unlock that consciousness that we seem to have forgotten about. And I mean the word humanity. We have forgotten what the word humanity is, and we need to find that humanity in us again in order to restore that lost order that we had in society. So thank you very much, guys. Lekker. Take it easy. Keep the faith. Cheers. Bye-bye.